Clark Honors College Class of 2020 and the families and friends of the Class of 2020. Welcome to our virtual commencement. My name is Gabe Paquette and I am Dean of the Clark Honors College. I wish we were all together for many reasons, but chiefly because the magnitude, scope, variety, and remarkable nature of the Class of 2020's accomplishments deserve more than a celebration mediated by a screen. But let us not be distracted by the modality of communication, and instead direct our gaze to what has brought us here together today. Our commencement has a single purpose: to honor and celebrate you graduates and your achievements. And what formidable achievements they are. A thesis, dozens of courses, and I dare say hundreds of exams, papers, presentations, and now Zoom calls and virtual office hours are behind you. Your leadership in student organizations and athletics, and many contributions beyond the campus are exemplary, stellar, and impactful. Thank you for those. You are among the highest achieving students at the University of Oregon. Scholastic achievement is merely the visible flowering of a number of laudable traits that operate beneath the surface. Your brilliance, diligence, and persistence among them. And it is these qualities and habits of mind that we celebrate more than the abundance of A's on your transcripts. And there are, for the record, a lot of A's. So on behalf of the entire CHC faculty and staff, congratulations. We are proud of you and sincerely wish we could be celebrating this day with you, your family, and friends in person. And I just want to applaud you and the CHC faculty and staff for your resilient response to the COVID-19 crisis. I'm sure your families would agree that this isn't what any of us thought the spring of your senior year would look like. It's been a truly courageous performance for which you all, faculty, staff, but especially graduating students, deserve great credit and commendation. The past few months have been an extraordinarily challenging moment for all of us because it's an extraordinarily challenging moment in world history. Recall, however, that we become who we are not in spite of challenges, but because of them, and because of how we comport ourselves in overcoming them. This is as true of individuals as it is of institutions. Our universities, for example, depend on being challenged, for they are revivified by students and parents impatient with old patterns, methods, and traditions. We who spend our careers in universities are refreshed and recalled to our mission by your catalytic probing, by your propensity for asking difficult questions, and for demanding more of your professors and your university. As I meditate on the challenges you will face, graduating during the greatest public health crisis since the influenza pandemic a century ago, and the greatest economic crisis since the Great Depression, I feel both empathy and hope. Empathy, obviously, because you are graduating into a world that is less hospitable to graduating seniors than it has been for any generation of graduates in this country since 1945. I imagine very well what it must feel like in your situation. I can recall my own excitement-tinged trepidation upon graduation several decades ago in much more felicitous circumstances. You deserve more, and your achievements deserve more than this moment of entry into the world beyond the university. But I also feel tremendous hope, and this is because you have given me and your professors and your families bountiful reasons to be hopeful. Over the past few years, you've demonstrated and made manifest your remarkable talents in myriad ways, each and every day. Your theses evince your ability to reason carefully and clearly. Your everyday contributions to classrooms, libraries, labs, studios, and theaters have given ample evidence of your powers to harness the powers of your imagination, to create and to express yourselves. In your classes and in your other pursuits, you have made visible, audible, intelligible, and persuasive the awe-inspiring operations of your mind. And this formidable record, I think, should inspire confidence as you approach the next phase of your life, even in these less than ideal circumstances. How impressively you've adapted to this unanticipated disruption to your lives, completing and defending theses, finishing courses in a new virtual format, and accomplishing all of this while your social lives have been upended. You've persevered and you've triumphed. Take this victory and use it as fuel to propel yourselves into the future. Speaking on behalf of older generations, we need your ingenuity, brilliance, and resilience to usher in a better society than the one we have bequeathed you. The character you have shown during this crisis, the patience and strength that you have displayed, the positive attitude you have exuded are all things the world needs right now and in the future. We're counting on you. Congratulations on your graduation today. You've now heard enough from me, the warm-up act. Now there are three remarkable individuals I'd like you to hear from. Two are fellow members of the class of 2020, and the third is a distinguished alumnus. Let's begin with the distinguished alumnus. Jeff Whitty graduated from the Clark Honors College and the UO in 1993, after which he boarded a green tortoise bus and headed to New York City, where he graduated with a master's degree from NYU's acting program. He then focused on playwriting, and within the short span of 8 years, won a Tony Award for Avenue Q, a musical comedy that ran on Broadway for 16 years. Among his many other credits, in 2015, Whitty premiered a musical Head Over Heels at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival to great acclaim. He then switched gears to become a screenwriter and produced Can You Ever Forgive Me?, a film based on Lee Israel's memoir starring Melissa McCarthy and Richard E. Grant. This year, in addition to BAFTA and Academy Award nominations for Best Adapted Screenplay, Whitty received awards from, among others, the Writers Guild of America, the Satellite Press Association, and the Los Angeles Critics Circle. Jeff, welcome. Thanks for coming back to the CHC.
Greetings from us Hollywood, everybody, and congratulations to the mighty 2020 graduates of the Robert D. Clark Honors College. My name is Jeffrey Whitty, and I promise that I'm wearing pants. I am a proud duck and an Honors College graduate from the Cretaceous era. And my work begins with a keyboard, a blank page, and a hunch. I'm a storyteller, and when I spin a tale for the ticket-buying public, for I must do so to stay afloat, every bit of typing that follows is an exercise in taste. Some see the exercise of taste as dividing things into categories, good and bad, and winners and losers, and so on, but that is the opposite of taste. That, my dears, is snobbery. And what's a snob? A snob is a person who has no taste. A purebred snob knows no middle ground at all. Unless I sound snobbish about snobbery, we all get our snob on sometimes. So what is taste then? I define taste as an empathic consideration of the experience of one's audience in any enterprise. Building a hit demands that all aboard bow to the audience's experience, even if that means slaughtering weeks of what seems so great on the laptop. If the crowd is over it in performance, I feel like the host at a bad party. I can't get home and hit delete fast enough. And through this and all audience-attentive efforts, taste encourages a world of nuance, shades, and subtleties. Taste is this and that. What snobs divide, taste balances. And in doing so, taste encourages playful engagement. And in such a world, emotions can come and go. Comedy shakes the bark off of people to then be moved. Laughter is a form of catharsis, which has two definitions in the Oxford English Dictionary. 1. The purification of the emotions through vicarious experience, especially through drama. 2. Purgation of the excrements of the body, especially evacuation of the bowels. I see no binary there. We all know how the afterglow of a good laughing or crying jag feels like we just took a huge purifying emotional dump. And you can't force others to drop the proverbial kids off. Catharsis demands that the storyteller meet the audience halfway, leaving them to finish the assembly. And I learned from early overreaches to serve the audience dinner and let them eat. I don't chew the food and spit it into their mouths. I don't swallow the food and describe how delicious it is. No, I work like mad, prepping in the kitchen. I deliver the dish and I get the hell out of the way. When we storytellers do our job well, nobody in the audience considers us at all. They are engrossed in the machinery of the story. And a lot of jobs are like that. As we glide along the rails in life, we rarely consider those who allow us such ease. We simply glide, as we should. But such ease never comes easy. There's a wonderful Chinese word that English must adopt. It is chabaduo, which means, nah, that'll do. Oh, that's good enough for now. Chabaduo takes shortcuts. It's the opposite of craftsmanship and sees it as busy work. If one believes that success is just a pull on a slot machine, well, yeah, that'll do. Alas, in execution, that'll do never does. From time to time in my career, a colleague will say, oh, the audience just didn't get it when a show doesn't catch on. And then I wonder, well, who the hell are you doing it for then? Is it the audience's fault that they weren't engrossed? I'm good at what I do because I work incredibly hard and revise off of the crowd. My work ethic is motivated by the many times I found myself trapped in a cramped Broadway theater seat at 10:15, writhing like a feral animal in a kitty carrier because nobody exercised the craftsmanship to make me or anyone else care. And as such, Chabaduo leads to an uneasy sense of being disliked by your guide. The audience seeks taste in any enterprise to remind their hearts that their one shot through the story matters. It is horrifying to find ourselves trapped in the unyielding tastelessness that has come to rule our lives. Do you hear the helicopter? Right now, we humans suffer the effects of a lack of taste on a perilous scale. Graduate, you will be able to say, "When I was your age," to people your age, when you're my age, and their heads will explode. Don't let anyone try to bottle your feelings inside with the argument that others have it worse than you do. Because it's pure math to consider that someone can say that to any other person on the universe except for that one incredibly unfortunate person for whom it isn't true. We can count our blessings and rend our garments at the same time and lend support to our brothers and sisters when we need to put focus on their oppression. Don't let the snobs make it one or the other. History is unkind to snobs, but smiles on those who spread a message to look out for one another. They tend to get martyred a lot along the way, those voices, but they keep bursting out. Human history is largely made of snobs playing whack-a-mole with the message. In the face of malice, I offer some advice, and I'm reading it from my scars. For heaven's sakes, don't be nice. Nice is a front for someone who gives till it hurts, and it can also be a mask for predators. So screw nice. Practice kindness. Kindness is the practice of self-taste, where you include yourself among the audience you serve. Kind takes care of itself first and then you. Kind is real as hell, fun at parties, and kind kicks asses when necessary. And kind ethical business clears a path to success. Avenue Q and Can You Ever Forgive Me were delivered with taste and ethics from every department at every stop from the page to the premiere. The artist's voice was respected, as was our craft of story. As for that show in Ashland, well, after its sold-out wonderful run closed there, I watched as 3 years of grueling work and my only hope for a livelihood got swindled away by confidence artists in the New York commercial theater with ties to organized crime. I quit my own self-expression 6 months later from the abuse, and they came at me to own everything in a terrifying manner, as organized crime will, as I learned. The betrayals of trust and the fear broke me entirely. Remember this always. Should you ever suffer human brutality, leaven your suffering by considering that karma might just be rolling up her sleeves. None among the thieves could exercise taste if they were a tongue. And the very different show they mounted on Broadway became one of its biggest flops. The Tony Awards gave them not a single nomination. And meanwhile, its screenplay that I wrote in 2011 magically sprung to life, starring Melissa McCarthy. And instead of a Tony nomination from an industry that abused me, I heard that I was nominated for an Academy Award. And this is what I'm leading to, an example of how you never know what will come of the connections you make now. My date was a blonde ingenue I met on the front porch of the Sigma Nu House our first week of freshman year at the U of O in 1989, and we've been friends ever since. Her name is Heidi Schreck, and after the Oscars, she would take Broadway by storm, starring in a jaw-droppingly great play that she wrote called What the Constitution Means to Me. Heidi's sold-out brilliance reached audiences thanks in no small part to ethical handling. And given what I'd been through and where I knew she was heading, Heidi and I stepped and repeated down that Oscars red carpet laughing all the way. Go Ducks. And I've said it many times. I was poised for success by the University of Oregon and the Robert D. Clark Honors College, and I wouldn't trade them for the Ivy Leagues. I arrived in New York City on that green tortoise hippie bus in 1993 loaded with material, without a shred of snobbery nor entitlement nor chabaduo nor a single connection, and by God I got my ass to work. And thank God I did, because the only silver platters I got handed were as a waiter. And on the subject of supporting yourself, I know you're going into a tricky job market. And if it helps, I worked an insane amount of jobs of all kinds to make ends meet because it took 10 years and 5 days after my arrival on the Tortoise until Avenue Q opened on Broadway and I finally made a living at my craft. And until then, I was a secretary, a cater waiter, a bartender, a transcriber, and on and on. And then for the final 2 years before Avenue Q opened, I paid my rent, working as a go-go boy at clubs all across downtown Manhattan, dancing my honors college ass off on top of bars in a jockstrap and boots as strangers tucked bills into the scant real estate my garments allowed. And this is totally true. I'm kind of famous for it. And immediately after I won the Tony in 2004, I faced the press. And the first question I got was from Michael Riedel of the New York Post. Were you really a go-go boy? And I said, I most certainly was. You can take pride in all the work you do. Own your whole 360, for that's how legends are born. Express yourself in your life and work. It's a common regret of people nearing the end of life that they didn't let their hair down a little more. And Chaba Duo is obviously a Chaba Do Not. Study your craft and then apply it like a nerd. And sometimes study can include winging it on your feet until, as with me, the points reveal themselves. I never studied story but in the thick of the crowd. And failure was just a sign going that-a-way. This graduation ceremony bridges two great divides, making an inclusion of what came before and what is coming next. And having recognized your history, let us sashay tits out into the mystery, every one of you and your friends and family as well. Follow your curiosity, for there you will find your talent. And for heaven's sakes, don't be nice. Be kind instead. Nice is a front. It can hide anything. Kind will kick ass if necessary. Kind is wise, intending to itself first, and then it looks out for others. My apologies, I'm having technical difficulties. It was going so well. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to have to reveal that I wasn't saying it all along. Damn it. Making it up, rather. I wanted you to think I was absolutely brilliant. All right, what are you doing? This always happens. Here we go. What was I ranting about? Oh, here we go. Okay. Kind is wise. Kind maybe it's important. Kind is wise, intending to itself first, and then it looks out for others. And if along the way you don't feel confidence, take a tip from an old pro. It's okay to fake it. Often in the exercise, confidence shows up. So please join me in bringing taste back. Let's make helping each other along the fashion. Build bridges when we can to allow joy. And let's not lose hope when the snobs dominate the headlines. Remember what I said about the storyteller vanishing from view? We who look out for others are that storyteller, the one who encourages hearts along. And part of bringing taste back, I think, is acknowledging those who built the rails for us to glide upon. So, thank you, and congratulations to the professors and staff at the Honors College for giving these bright young minds such a broad and useful education. Because graduates, you never know what will come in handy until it does. For example, back when I was in Professor Louise Bishop's Honors College Renaissance Studies class, which back in my day was called Current Events, on the syllabus was a book that I would later use as the source material for the masterpiece of my career down in Ashland. So thank you, Honors College. My psychiatrist has a bill for you. And should any of you ever feel alone, and I am serious, please know that as long as you look out for others when you can, you always have a friend in me. Your silver-bearded Honors College daddy, Jeffrey. Congratulations to all of you. I send everyone much love. And I'll see y'all's chickens when we get to the other side. Tits out, everybody.
Thank you, Jeff, for those brilliant remarks. It's now my great honor to introduce a member of the class of 2020, Momo Wilms-Crowe, who's graduating today with a major in political science and minors in ethnic studies and international studies. Her senior thesis examines agroecology and food sovereignty activism in Puerto Rico. She is a Wayne Morse Scholar, the recipient of a UO Presidential Scholarship, and a Benjamin Gilman Scholarship winner, to name just a few of her many honors, intramural and extramural. In addition to her research in Puerto Rico, she studied abroad in Durban, South Africa. Momo is not only an exemplary student, but also a tireless activist and community organizer. During her college career, she served as a prison education program intern, the executive director of No Lost Generation, a student group dedicated to supporting refugees and immigrants, and was appointed as a peer mentor with the Pathway Oregon program. Momo, please come to the stage.
Hello, fellow graduates, family, faculty, staff, and anyone else who may be watching. My name is Momo Wilms-Crowe, and I am honored and humbled to be speaking to you as one of your student speakers. I'm not sure why they've asked me to speak, given that my immediate postgrad plans currently involve napping, digging in the dirt, and building my sourdough starter, but I'm honored nevertheless and hope that I may offer some small piece of value to all those who have given me so much over these past 4 years at the University of Oregon. I'd like to start by telling you about a time when I let go of a plan and instead followed a dream that became a journey to greater self-discovery, purpose, and connection. It started on a late night in a crowded New York City gay bar. I was explaining the thesis of a term paper about food justice and colonialism that I was in the middle of writing for Professor Kamisha Russell's colloquium, as one naturally does in a bar. That night, I decided to change my entire thesis idea and start from scratch, following my gut to Puerto Rico, where I expanded on that paper to research the violent impacts of colonialism and how food sovereignty builds community resilience and deep healing. Inspired by the magic of queer possibility and a lucky connection, I followed my intuition into an adventure. This project, my thesis, grew to become far more than just a hoop to jump through in order to graduate. It taught me that we are all agents of change, much more powerful than we tend to believe. It taught me that following a dream, despite the risk, is worth it. And it reminded me that we are all in this together, inextricably tied to one another for better or for worse. It's hard to capture this idea in English, but as I learned in South Africa last year, there's a Zulu word that can help us here, Ubuntu. It means roughly, I am because we are. COVID has reminded us of this too. The pandemic has showed us that the flourishing of the individual requires that the collective is protected, including and especially society's most marginalized. That means the farm workers on strike right at this moment, those incarcerated in our prisons, indigenous communities on reservations, unhoused people sleeping on our streets. We are always in relation, during a pandemic and beyond. Our humanity is bound. Before I sat down to write this, I went on a walk throughout my neighborhood. I saw two friends seated in a park, 6 feet apart, ukuleles in each lap and songs flowing between. I saw my mailman, whose name and smile I finally know after living in my house for 2 years and never having asked before. I saw my neighbor Annie, whose birthday was last week. I met her week 2 of quarantine. She was sitting on her front porch, leaning against her bright red front door, playing You've Got a Friend on Me on her old guitar. I sang with her from the street. I saw my neighbor Monica, who just last week dropped off 2 loaves of bread on my doorstep. I shared them with the soup I'd made with my own neighbors. This is what COVID has given me, what it has given us. Amongst all of the loss, all of the tragedy, all the uncertainty, has reminded us of what community feels like, what resilience looks like, what strength we hold when we work together and care for each other, what is possible when we dare to give our dreams of new realities space and invest in them wholeheartedly. We are living through a moment none of us thought we would be in. I want to make space for the very real grief that we have all been feeling, and maybe now, as you hear this speech through a screen. The pandemic has come with losses of all sizes, and all of us have lost something. Perhaps loved ones, opportunities, a sense of security, relationships, experiences, plans. Loss is never easy, and my heart goes out to all those who are grieving. But I hope we may recognize that grief also gives us something. It humanizes us. As Adrienne Maree Brown wrote, quote, "Grief shows us what we love and what we most want to protect. It swallows everything extraneous. So much of what we love is still here, and tomorrow is another miraculous opportunity to change it, to protect it." End quote. This moment has gifted us with clarity. Amidst the loss we are feeling, we have also seen the vivid failures of the systems and institutions that are supposedly in place to protect us. We've seen the exacerbation of pre-existing social inequalities. We've seen the power of grassroots action, like the mutual aid networks that have erupted across the world. May we receive this gift of clarity in earnest and listen to what it asks us to do. We are living in a moment of historic transformation, a portal between worlds, as Arundhati Roy has even called it. How will we traverse this portal, and what will we do to shape what lies on the other side? As graduates in the Clark Honors College, I hope we may reflect on all that our education has given us and reorient towards what's come next, while not forgetting that we all have agency in this ever-evolving story. We all hold the power and responsibility to help write a story that we will be proud of sharing. The urgency of the moment demands that we act. Even before COVID hit, we were facing political polarization, climate catastrophe, mass incarceration, democratic collapse, and ever-rising inequality. In the COVID moment, child care centers are being forced into closing their doors for good, while police departments are getting raises. Essential workers and frontline communities are suffering, while big corporations are getting bailouts. The circumstances are dire, the stakes are high, and our collective survival is on the line. Graduating at this moment in this world's history, where so much remains unknown, is not easy nor without pressure. But here we are. While the unknown might be frightening, I believe it brings with it a widened spectrum of opportunities. The more questions we hold, the more answers we can find. The more we dare to ask, the more we may discover. I see hope in this because I believe the worst thing to come from this pandemic would be to return to normal when the status quo was clearly not working. But another world is possible. Nothing is inevitable. If we only dare to let go of what was and lean into what could be. Like that night in New York City, we must be brave enough to trust in our vision and embrace the unknown, knowing that it's okay to be a little lost, and we must not hold all the answers by ourselves. Rebecca Solnit, writing about the pandemic, described it as a soup of liminal uncertainty. Quote, "When a caterpillar enters its chrysalis, it dissolves itself quite literally into liquid. In this state, what was a caterpillar and what will be a butterfly is neither one nor the other. It is a sort of living soup." End quote. As graduates in 2020, we are in a soup within a soup. But let us not forget that we are navigating this soup in community. We are not graduating alone, but connected to many outside of us who have made this great achievement possible. From our ancestors, to our families, to our friends, to our professors, to everybody and everything that has nurtured us and nourished us. Our journey is part of a collective. As we humbly listen to the voices of possibility outside ourselves, I hope we also dare to speak and to act. Now is the time more than ever to be agents in the change that we dream of, and dream we do. I've been in the habit recently of asking my friends what world they believe in, knowing that speaking our visions is one step closer to realizing them. One friend said, "I believe in a world where everybody's health is a priority." Another, where I can wear what I want without being misgendered. Another, where every child is loved and safe. Another one, where our value means more than our productivity. I encourage everyone listening to think about world you believe in, because it matters. As I approach this next step in life, I've decided to spend less time thinking about what I want to do or who I want to be next. I've decided to put a pause on editing the spreadsheets of potential grad programs and career tracks to just reflect and really ask myself that question. What world do I believe in? I trust that my answer will guide my actions appropriately. I want to leave you at the edge of a garden. It's springtime after all. Without knowing what the coming season will bring, what seeds will we choose to plant in this garden that is our collective future? What dreams will we put out into the universe, and how will we take action to nourish those ideas, those seedlings, into reality? I believe in our dreams, and I hope you do too. So as we enter this next stage in our lives, may we dream big, trust generously, connect authentically, show up honestly, care deeply, and love fiercely. Our garden is waiting. Thank you, congratulations, and cheers to us, class of 2020.
Momo, thank you very much for those inspiring remarks. And it's now my pleasure to introduce another member of the class of 2020, Nelson Perez Catalan, who has made major contributions to the CHC and the UO communities. He has completed his major in human physiology with a cardiopulmonary focus. He has been the recipient of numerous scholarships and research awards, including the CHC-sponsored Cell, Developmental, and Cancer Biology Summer Internship at OHSU. Hailing from Chile, Nelson served as an ambassador with the International Cultural Service Program, worked as a peer mentor, and conducted research in the Doe Lab on molecular neurobiology, utilizing species of flies in the Drosophila genus. Nelson, thanks very much for speaking to your fellow graduates today.
Robert D. Clark, Honors College, class of 2020. Congratulations. We have now graduated. In the past, I would have hoped to celebrate our achievements together and see you and your family face to face to share this special ceremony. Instead, I am doing so through a camera lens in an empty room, hoping that you can hear my message. This unconventional situation does not mean that your achievements will go unheard. Instead, as we have seen through social media, we can still come together to unite and to celebrate. So don't let your voice go unheard. Share your personal story, such as the barriers you overcame, the passions that you found in your academic studies, the friendships that you forged, as it might bring happiness to your family and even hope to those who see you as an ally. My personal story goes back 5 years ago, as I stepped on an airplane to the United States from my hometown in the Chilean Patagonia. I was to become the first member of my family to attend college. Thanks to ICSP and the CHC, I was able to fulfill my dream of pursuing the academic opportunities that I did not enjoy back home. But I'm not going to lie. My first year was by far the most challenging undoing I have ever experienced. Financial challenges required me to maintain 2 jobs while attending college. As a self-supported student, my financial stability eventually crumbled, leaving me without housing for a term and even without food budget. As I discovered my love for student pantries and free food events, I realized that living off my survival instincts left me without time for classes. Added on to adjusting to a new culture, including language barriers, my academic performance suffered. I dropped well below the CHC and my scholarship's performance requirements. And, to be honest, I was ready to quit. I remember sitting at the office of my scholarship director trying to find the words to say, "I think I am ready to go home." But then he looked at me and said instead, "Many have seated in that chair, and many will follow. You need support, and we are here for you." Fast forward 5 years, I am now graduating the CHC as an honors college student and also as an honors biology student. I have done research that has received many awards at national conferences, including authorship of a peer-reviewed publication at a Nature journal. By no means my story is a story of conventional success, nor it is a story of achievements of a single individual. My story is the story of strong support systems, composed of leaders, advisors, therapists, and dreamers, who cheer me all the way through the end line. I am a product of grassroots movements, of philanthropy, and compassion of those who believe in breaking away from the norm. I am part of a work of believers that do not think that all individuals enjoy the same opportunities, so they step up to fill in the holes of our educational system. Today, I'm here for 2 reasons. The first is to congratulate you for your wonderful achievements and your strength to make it through college. The second is to challenge you. As you have seen today, the state of the world demands for true leadership that is based on the principles of compassion. As a CHC student, we have been equipped with the spark of faculty members and staff who believe that the importance of liberal arts education is a tool for leadership. I believe in that too. Just like you, I cherish my decision to pursue the CHC alongside my science training. It is not the knowledge that we have acquired that will really impact the next generations, but it is the essence and the values of education based on questioning, creativity, and solidarity, which will become the hope for those who, like me, were faced with the decision of giving up. I am constantly reminded of the many who have seated in the seat of my scholarship director's table. Many who were not able to complete their journeys. After all, it just happened that I was there at the right time, under the right set of conditions. Class of 2020, we are the first class in the history of this college that has stepped out of tradition with the distance commencement ceremony. This pandemic has not only shaken us and taken us out of our comfort zone, it had also unveiled the fragility of our systems of support. We are the class of the unconventional, entering the harshest job market to date, taking distance from our loved ones and living in isolation. I have no doubts that history will keep an eye on us. Perhaps in 50 or 100 years, there will be documentaries based on today's reality. Class of 2020, this unconventional reality calls for unconventional solutions. I challenge you to use this pandemic as a stage for your story to be heard, so that the support systems not only reach individuals like me, but they also reach larger communities. Mamá, papá, lo logré. Mom, Dad, I made it. Your efforts have paid off. I am now walking my own unconventional path.
Thank you, Nelson, for delivering those remarks to your fellow graduates, and thank you, Momo and Jeff, for your inspiring orations. Congratulations, class of 2020, on your remarkable accomplishments and on this graduation today. Now, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Move your tassel from the right to the left. From the right to the left. Thank you very much, everyone. I think that's now been completed, and you are now officially graduates of the CHC and the University of Oregon. Congratulations.
Elizabeth Kogan, Shady Agel, Sage Albright, Lydia Angel, Hannah Argento McCurdy, Maya Ald, Sophie Bange, Natalie Beatty, Alex Boxberger, Karen Bratton, Ethan Breitenbach, Patrick Breslin, Hannah Buckingham, Emily Burns, Winter Calkins, Emily Carlson, Jasmine Cole, Mackenzie Crampton, Momo Crow, Joe Colbert, Kayla Davis, Paul Dawson, Jacob DeVries, Emma Doranson, Lindsay Dreyer, Lauren Eaton, Matthew Hageman, Hillary Ellman, Adeline Fecker, Lauren Feets,
I want to thank my parents, Jill and John, my sisters, my significant other, and the rest of my friends and family for supporting me through this journey.
Rebecca Foley, Lita Ford, Lauren Gallivan, Zach Garrison, Eloise Gayette, Katie Golab, Alex Goldman, David Grabicki, Aiden Hay, Simone Halley, Kira Hansen, Jordan Harden, Nick Haas, Jacob Hillman, Jackson Hakey, Skylar Howe, Vanessa Huffnagel, Kaylee Jodis, Elena Johnson Lafferty, Nikos Jordan, Rennie Kendrick, Ashley Kim, Kara Kernachik, Tova Kruss, Anna Kulowick, Rachel Lamb, Dylan Land, Connor Lane, Daniela Lituanio, Julia Liu, Mary Lonhart, Megan Lonhart, Dakota Luthia, Rachel Lutz,
Nick Mao, Bree McAllister, Matthew McGonigal, Alex Menzel, Noah Mifsud, Sabrina Miller, Jed Moody, Julia Mueller, Sophie Murray, Chris Nelson, Mark Nelson, Emily Niebergall, Nelly Nubosi Nkemfak, Annika Nikkanen, Jake Olson, Peregrine Painter, Zaria Parvez, Josh Pearman, McKenna Pennell.
Thank you so much to my friends and family for helping me get here and for celebrating this rather unconventional day with me. These past 4 years have been amazing, and I look forward to pursuing my PhD in chemistry at Stanford.
Nelson Perez Catalan, Rachel Perry, Sienna Polk, Allie Quinn, Dawson Quinton, Maddie Rabing, Auden Reddy, Laura Reich, Marcella Rosen, Ryan Russell, Allison Shukas, Maddie Scott, Laura Leigh Singsank, Ilana Slavit, Rachel Sugg, Camille Sullivan, Mateo Sundberg, Miko Suzuki, Andrew Tesoriero, Miriam Thielman, Jasmine Tribolette, Dan Tudorica, Beth Ann Tyler, Sean Vermilia, Kayla Walker, Abby Ward, Natalie Weaver, Sophia Wentland, Mimi White,